Don't you think that the Russia-Ukraine war has shown us how incompetent the Russian defense forces are, as they are losing on every front, as shown by the media? Which media are you consuming, sir? Which media? The media that we tend to consume in India is the English speaking media. Now, who controls the English speaking media? It's the West. Now, on what side is the West? They are anti Russia, pro Ukraine. So, obviously, they will show Russia as being incompetent and and losing everything. But take a look at what's on the map. I'm not going to show the map today. I mean, the exact situation. Here's the deal. Here is the situation on the ground today. Russia has captured approximately 1/4 of Ukrainian territory. The amount of territory Ukraine had before February 24, 2022, out of that territory, at least 1/4 is now in Russia, under Russian control. That is a territory larger than the size of Bangladesh or Nepal. Do you think that is incompetence? They have been portraying the Russian advance as like the Russia. See, we don't know what the Russian intentions were or are, right? They will not telegraph their intentions before they start the war or even while fighting the war. In warfare, everything is about deception. You want the enemy to be confused. You want the adversary to not know what your true intentions are. Like in chess, as in war, it's all about deception. So maybe the Russians only wanted certain territories. Maybe the Donbas region, the eastern region of Ukraine, which is Russian speaking, mostly majority, and the coastal regions in the Black Sea, the ports of Kherson, Odessa, etc. Perhaps Odessa is still probably not under control. Maybe they will take it under control. I mean, so that's what it could be. Maybe they don't want to take over the entirety of Ukraine, but they want to ensure that Ukraine can never rise again as a threat against Russia and as a puppet of the West, right? So that may have been the intention. They have done a good job. As if that was the intention, that's what they've already achieved. They've taken over a quarter of the entire country. They're consolidating their positions there. They are fully in control of 1/4 of the erstwhile territories of Ukraine. And let's see how it goes. I don't see incompetence. The Western media will only show a certain image. And if you want to consume that wholesale, well, good luck to you. But even the Indian media, you will see various journalists who had been embedded with Ukrainian forces. I mean, if you want to give a balanced picture of a conflict to your people, to your country, shouldn't you also have a few reporters embedded on the other side? But no, they only showed a one-sided picture. So that's where we are. The map, the positions on the ground are very clear. Russia has taken over a quarter of the country. I don't see that as incompetence. Of course, there have been losses on both sides. It's clear that the Ukrainians have lost more. Their armed forces are decimated. They're completely dependent on supplies coming in from NATO, from the West, and still they're not able to retake the territory. And they're gradually losing more if the Russians so desire. I don't see that as incompetence. Of course, the Russians haven't done an outstanding job. They have also suffered casualties and losses. And for that's why you need to understand history. You cannot understand current affairs or geopolitics unless you have a good grasp about history. And when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine conflict that's going on right now, you need to look at the history of Russia, the past 300 years. Here's the deal. Every time Russia has gone into a conflict, whether it is in the 19th century, whether it is with the Turks, whether it is during World War I or World War II or whatever, initially they have always suffered catastrophic losses. Always. That's always been the pattern in Russia, in wars involving Russia or the USSR. Initially, they always suffered disastrous losses, and then they get back. So that's where we are. In this case, the Russians have not suffered disastrous losses as such, but they would have suffered some losses. They lost one of their major battleships, and maybe some soldiers and personnel as well. But overall, they are in control. So I don't see this as incompetence. I don't see the Russians as having suffered setbacks. They have not lost territory. They've gained a substantial amount of territory. They're holding on to it, and the West is not able to do anything about it. Neither is Ukraine. So that's where we are, and that's what the situation is. So I would encourage you to look at a 360-degree perspective. Don't only consume English-speaking media. Look at the French media. Try and translate that. There are translation tools available. Look at what the Germans are saying, but look at what the Russians are saying, their media. Look at what the Chinese are saying. I know everything is propaganda. Russian news is propaganda. Chinese news is propaganda. Western news is major propaganda. But look at everything from a holistic 360-degree perspective, and then you will get a better idea of what's really happening. And the best way to know what's happening in a conflict is to look at the situation on a map. Who's controlling what? And that tells you clearly there is no incompetence on the Russian side. They've advanced significantly, taken a quarter of the country. So that's where we are.